What's going on, everybody? We got a 2006 Ford Escape 2.3 liter. Today we're going to be putting on some lower control arms on the front, some outer tie rods, sway bar links, and front brake hoses. Let me get you all set up here and we'll get started. Let's go ahead and get the front wheels off of here. Alright, let's go ahead and bring you in for a closer look at so like I said, we're going to be replacing the outer tie rod. We're also going to be replacing the front brake hoses here. If you can see how split these are. And we're also going to be taking care of these lower control arms today. There's some play in the ball joint right down here. Lower control arm bushings starting to dry rot and split, and they're tearing apart. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and get this jam nut right here broke free. Then we'll get this cotter pin out. And then we'll work on getting the tie rod the rest of the way off. Alright, and then you just want to crack it free just enough to be able to spin the tie rod off of the inner tie rod there. So once we've got that all loose, go ahead and use a 19mm socket, take the nut off the tie rod. Got our hammer with us. Go ahead and just give it a few taps here on the knuckle. Alright. And the only thing we're going to do here, when we take this tie rod off, you're going to count how many turns you have. You know, taking it off, that way you know how many turns to put it back on. So that was 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's about 23 turns right there to get the tie rod off, and as you see, it comes right out. We're replacing these. You see the boots here split on them, and there's also some play side to side in the joint, so you kind of pull up on it. So you can see the play there in it. So now that we've already got that off, let's go ahead and move around here to getting this brake hose taken off the top. So let me move you around here. Alright, so if we just move around here to the front side, we're just going to go ahead and get this clip undone here for the brake hose. And the clip, it goes in just like that there. So when we go to put it back in, it'll be just like that. We'll tap it in. Go ahead and set this off to the side. We're going to reuse that. At this point, we can go ahead and just pull the brake hose out of the mounting bracket here on the strut. So you can see how split these are. All right. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to work on getting this lower ball joint out. 15mm. Alright, so 15mm nut. We'll go ahead and take that off. So I like to put a 13mm socket on an impact. Alright, once you've got it where it's spinning freely there, you can just go ahead and pull those bolts straight out. Alright, once it's out, we'll go ahead and work on getting the other two bolts that hold this lower control arm in loose here. So follow the control arm right up here to under this axle. You'll see This bolt here is the one we're going after next. We're going to go ahead and get that loose. Alright, so we'll crack that free, run it the rest of the way out with our electric ratchet here. We'll take it the rest of the way out here in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and get underneath this one. That bolt is a 21 millimeter. So let's go ahead and grab that. All right, we'll go ahead and get that ran out of there just like so. We'll get this cleaned up. Go ahead and set this off to the side because we're going to reuse that as well. All right, once we've got that one out, we'll go ahead and get this bolt the rest of the way out, the one that we started on first. Go ahead and set it off to the side here. All right, and then on these here, they're usually not too hard to get the ball joints out of the knuckles. So a few taps with the hammer here, and usually it'll come right on out. All right, and as you can see, a few taps of the hammer here. We'll go and get that ball joint straight out of the knuckle. We'll get that cleaned up. Get that ready for reassembly. All right, so next thing we're going to move on to is replacing the sway bar links. We'll take advantage of the situation of the control arm being out. And go ahead and get this bottom one loose. So let's go ahead and get that taken out. All right, and there you go. Go ahead and take that nut off there. I find that to be one of the easier ways to get these off without any cutting or anything like that. Go ahead and get you a vice grip. Hold on to that joint and take your nut off just like that there. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the same with the top here. On the top one, you'll get out a little bit easier though, because you can definitely throw your impact on that one. So you want to do as much wrenching by any means. Alright, and then we can go ahead and slip it straight out. So that's the ideal of it. Hold it just like that, and run the nut off. When rust takes over, it can be extremely hard to get something as simple as a sway bar link off. All right, so we'll go ahead and reassemble here. The sway bar links, we got these Moog ones here. Some of these aftermarkets, they have kind of like this squared finish, so we're always holding on with the vice grips here. It actually has a slot so you can hold a wrench right there, and that makes installation a breeze. Same with removal if you ever have to take them back out. So let's go ahead and get these started back into their spots and get it tightened down. Alright, so go ahead and take your wrench and hold it on the back side there. And we'll just take our impact and tighten this up here. So we'll go ahead and do the same with the bottom. Alright, and just go ahead and take it with a ratchet here, especially on this bottom one where you can't get an impact in. Make sure that feels tight. There we go. You do the same for the top as well. Alright. Alright, now that your sway bar link is installed, we'll grease these up here at the end. They do have grease fittings on these Moog sway bar links. Some of the ones that you guys will buy, you'll see they don't, and that's okay. That's not a problem. Let's go ahead and move on to putting this lower control arm back in. All right. So once you got your new control arm, make sure it's all matched up. Everything looks good there. If it does, we'll go ahead and start reassembly. What I like to do here, I like to start off with this back bushing first and get it put back into its spot. So let's go ahead and get this one set just about right, get this bolt started anyhow. Alright, just kind of turn that one in a few turns by hand there. Bring you around here to this side. All right, next we'll go ahead and get this this bushing here set into place. Pretty easy to do these here. Not a whole lot of fighting to get them put in the spot. So we'll go ahead and get this about lined up and the bolt started back in for this one. You just gotta find the hole. With a man as many kids as I have, you wouldn't think it'd be that difficult. But here we are. Alright, so once you've got that one started there, we'll just go ahead and give it a few turns as well. We ain't got to tighten any of this all the way down yet. Alright, and it's not, like I said, it's not tightened all the way up. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get this ball joint put back into the nut while everything's still loose here. Alright, let's just push in, give it a few wiggles. A couple gentle taps with the hammer here. Alright, and you should have just about no problem getting this ball joint up inside the knuckle there. So we'll go ahead and take our new bolts here for the lower ball joint. Stick that through. Alright. We'll get this tightened up here in just a moment. All right, and go ahead and get that ball joint there tightened up. Next thing we're gonna do, just gonna put a load on the suspension here. Just use a floor jack up under the control arm here. Once we've got it preloaded, the suspension here, we'll go ahead and tighten up that bolt back there and this bolt up here on the front here. So let's go ahead and get that done real quick. Alright, get that one tightened down. Then we'll go and get this one tightened down over here. Alright guys, so once you got that one tightened up and this one tightened up, we can go ahead and let our floor jack down. We'll go ahead and move on to reassembling this tie rod. Alright, got our new tie rod here. Let's go ahead and get it opened up. Comes with a new cotter pin and grease fitting. So we'll get that greased up with the rest of these parts as soon as we are finished here. Go ahead and get our new grease fitting installed here on the outer tie rod. Alright, once it's installed, we'll go ahead and start putting our tie rod back on. Like I said, we just count the turns back on. There's 1, 2, 3. And that'll keep our alignment fairly close. So once we've got that on, we'll go ahead and slip our tie rod back on the knuckle here. Let's go ahead and snug this one up. Go ahead and get our new cotter pin installed here. Bend it down. Alright, and then we'll move back to this jam nut up here. Go ahead and tighten that down. Alright. So then once you've got that done, that tie rod's installed. So if you want to go back through and just make sure that you tightened everything down, your ball joint, your control arm, mounting there and here, your sway bar link, top and bottom. Go ahead and get you some grease for your tie rod and your sway bars. This part of it will be finished here. Let's go ahead and move on to the front side here and work on this brake hose. Alright, so we'll go ahead and grab us a 13mm wrench. Get this, there we go, easy that one was. Go ahead and get this fitting loose here. Once we do that, we'll go ahead and get this clip removed here. About 100 different ways to get the clip out. Leave it to me to pick the hardest. All right, we'll set that off to the side because we're gonna need that here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and finish taking this fitting out. All right. Use a 14mm down here at the brake caliper. Let's go ahead and spin this hose off. Alright, and just like that, we'll take that off of there. Go and get our new brake hose here opened up. We'll get it positioned into the caliper, tightened up, and then we'll go ahead and get it mounted back to the vehicle and get the hard line installed. Alright, so go ahead and get that ran down. Go ahead and use a 14mm wrench to tighten it up. It doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough you don't want to snap it off. So go ahead and get your fitting reinstalled into the rubber hose, get your clip back on, and then 13mm. Again, doesn't have to be super tight. Alright, and that there will do it. Alright, and you just want to make sure it's not kinked up anywhere, not bent. Once you've done that, that hose is installed. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up. Next thing we'll do is go ahead and bleed the brakes out. Alright guys, so we got the driver's side done, and we went ahead and got the passenger side done here. Same deal. Lower control arms, outer tie rods, brake hose on the front. We're going to go ahead and get these bled out. Now let's take it for a drive. Alright guys, so we got her back together, brakes bled. Went ahead and clean and adjust the rear brakes. Let's go on the road here and see how it feels. So far, so good. Feels like all the noises are taken care of. I don't hear anything out of it before. It was loud as could be. You hit any little dip in the road and there would be a pop or a thump. I think we're good to go. This feels great. If you got any questions or comments or anything you'd like to know, feel free to ask in the comment section. Other than that, we are done here. Thanks for watching.